Welcome to the Big Picture Retirement Show, where you'll learn what it really takes to have a successful retirement. With over 20 years of experience, your host, Rick Rivera of Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, has seen it all and is here to help you achieve your retirement dreams. This is the Big Picture Retirement Show.
Well, hello, everyone. Once again, it is the Big Picture Retirement Show. I'm your host, Rick Rivera. Got a great show in store for you today. Today, I want to talk about some real-life dynamics and some things that you should be considering when it comes to your retirement planning. And again, some of you may be 5 years away from retirement. Maybe you already retired. I want to share some ideas today that can put some things into perspective for you. What we do on the Big Picture Retirement Show is try to give you tools and strategies that you can use and implement that will enhance what you've already been able to accomplish when it comes to your retirement planning. If you ever have any questions about any of the topics that we talk about on the show, feel free to give us a call toll free, 800-700-1980. Again, our toll-free number is 800-700-1980. And I encourage you to jot that telephone number down because as we go on with the show today, there may be some ideas or topics that you may want to give us a call on directly, and you certainly can do that. And I'm actually happy to speak with you personally. Just call the office, 800-700-1980, and we'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have regarding any of the topics on the show. And also, maybe you have some suggestions as to certain topics you want us to cover on the show. We always encourage our listeners to call the show and definitely give us recommendations on topics you'd specifically like us to cover. Because let's face it, we definitely want to be talking about a lot of things that you're interested in rather than a bunch of things you could care less about. You can also check us out on the web at safeguardinvestment.com. Again, our website address is safeguardinvestment.com. And again, I'm your host, Rick Rivera. Now, the title of today's show is really real life dynamics. And the reason why I want to talk about this is just recently, I met with a listener. Matter of fact, he came in and met with me for the first time, and we were, kind of discussing his situation, and he was asking me questions, and I was giving him my opinion about certain things when it comes to retirement planning and what I've seen, because in my practice, a lot of the stuff that, we offer and things that we share are, especially the tools and the strategies, are things that we've actually learned from our own clients, and we've implemented that in our practice. Probably 80% of the stuff we do is stuff we've learned from our own clients. So when I was talking with this gentleman, he basically told me, I was discussing some things, and he goes, Rick, it's interesting that you're telling me this, and he goes, some of the stuff that you're saying, I would never expect a planner or an advisor to really tell me. And he goes, you really should share this on the radio show. And, I said to him, I go, well, I've been doing the show for years and I thought I've covered some of this stuff before, but, again, it can't hurt to repeat it. And so I want to share some thoughts and some ideas that I had with him. And then also what I want to do is also share with you a dynamic that I ran into today. And I want to give you some food for thought. And I want to keep retirement planning and all this as simple as possible. We don't want to mucky it up and make it seem more complicated than what it really is. So right now, if you have a pen or pencil, I want you to jot down our toll-free number again, 800-700-1980. Again, 800-700-1980, because you may have some questions as I go through some of the dynamics today about your particular situation. Now, the examples I'm going to be giving you today may not be your exact situation, but you can certainly take the examples that I'm going to give you today and you can place them in a different area. So I just want you to grasp a philosophy, a concept. So here's the thing. One of the things we were talking about is, when the gentleman that came in on Saturday, again, he was a listener that tunes into our radio show, and he actually we're talking about some planning processes, and in the discussion, here's what came up. We were talking about saving for retirement and putting money away. and the planning process and all the rest of it. And one of the things that I said to him was, I said, listen, and this is something I say to many people that come in, that I tell them, listen, there's so many times where I get people that come in and they're so stressed. And they may tell me, Rick, you know what? I read on the internet that, you have to have $1 million saved by the time you retire. Somebody might say, Rick, I saw this program where they said, you know what? You need to be putting away at least a minimum of 10% away of your salary, or 15% away of your salary, or some figure, in order, to be able to retire comfortably. And somebody will come in and give me some other, general information that they saw or read on the internet regarding how much they should have accumulated by retirement. And if they're behind the eight ball, it kind of makes them feel bad, and it causes a lot of stress. Because let's face it, folks, we go through life and, in our earlier years, retirement seems so far away. And as we get closer and closer to it, we figure, hey, you know what? We're going to get to it. And then more time goes by. And then next thing you know, it's getting real close. And you realize, hey, I may be behind the eight ball. So here's the examples that I want to give you of what I see sometimes. And here's where we have to put things into perspective. A lot of the information that you're going to read out there or hear out there is a lot of general information that may or may not pertain to you. So what do I mean by that? Well, what I mean by that is this. I get somebody that comes in and they're like, Rick, I got 200 grand saved in my 401k. I'm about to retire. I know that according to everything I read, I should have had at least $1 million or some arbitrary number that they read. And I'll sit down with them, and maybe this particular person really doesn't have much debt. Between Social Security and pensions, maybe they're going to be getting $8,000 a month, and the bills are $3,000 a month. And when I review everything, I find out after everything is all said and done, hey, they're with the income that they're going to be receiving, and because they have minimal debt when they retired, they're going to be fine. They're going to be able to basically maintain their standard of living. They'll be able to do their golfing, they'll be able to do their traveling, or whatever it is that they want to do. So at the end of the day, what really matters is, rather than focusing on arbitrary things that may or may not pertain to you, we have to focus on your specific situation. Because if, let's say, that same person saved $200,000 and the income is more than sufficient to do all the things that they want to do, by them having $1 million in their 401k is not going to change their lifestyle. In other words, if they can already accomplish what it is that they can accomplish with the income and the current expenses that they have, by them having $1 million in their 401k, they might tell me, well, Rick, it'd be nice, but it's not like I'm going to take, 5 more trips a year because I got the $1 million sitting there. It's not like all of a sudden, now that I'm retired, I'm going to go buy a new Ferrari or a mansion, overlooking the ocean. So in that particular situation, it really would not have made a dramatic difference in their lifestyle. Now, on the other side of the coin, somebody may come in and say, Rick, you know what? I'm really proud of myself. I saved $1 million. I did everything I was supposed to do, and I saved X percentage of my paycheck, and, I feel real good about myself. But then when I start crunching down the numbers, I find out maybe Social Security is going to give them $3,000 a month, and, they need 12 or 15 grand a month to live on. We may say, hey, listen, that $1 million that you saved, isn't quite enough. You undersaved, but I read it in the book that this is what's required. This is just general information. It's not specific to your situation. So, and then so many times I see people pushing to save every last dollar. And you know what? I'm going to keep working till I'm 70 so I can maximize the maximum amount I'm going to get out of Social Security. Folks, the point I'm trying to make is that if you've already won the comfortable retirement, making that extra amount in Social Security, or maybe saving that extra 100 grand or 50 grand, is that going to make a dramatic difference in your lifestyle? There's got to be some point where you need to have balance and be able to say, hey, listen, you know what? Let me enjoy life. Let me enjoy it now while I still have my health. So A good advisor will actually sit down with you, create a plan based upon your specific situation and your specific parameters, and determine exactly what you need to have saved and what position you need to be in, and create a goal that's specific to your situation, rather than you just kind of saving willy-nilly and then finding out down the road that, oh my gosh, I didn't save enough. Or maybe down the road, you know what, I stressed myself out and I sacrificed a whole lot, during my life to save X amount of dollars, and I really didn't need to save that much. So a good advisor will actually sit down with you and go over all this with you. Now, folks, you got questions on this about your specific situation? Don't hesitate to give us a call, 800-700-1980. 800-700-1980. Now, what I'm going to do here is we're going to take a quick little break. When we come back, I want to discuss another dynamic that I ran into with a client currently that I actually spoke to today, and I wanted to share it with you because I think it's going to also help you grasp some of these dynamics that I want to make clear with you. So with that being said, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to the Big Picture Retirement Show with Rick Rivera. For more information about Rick and the Safeguard Investment Advisory Group team, go to safeguardinvestment.com. While you're there, you can also download educational retirement guides and sign up for an upcoming seminar. That's safeguardinvestment.com. Now, back to the podcast.
And here we are. We're back once again. Again, you're listening to the Big Picture Retirement Show. I'm your host, Rick Rivera. If you'd like to get a hold of us or you have any questions on any of the topics we're talking about on the show, please don't hesitate to give us a call, toll free, 800-700-1980. Again, our toll free number is 800-700-1980. Also, I wanted to give you the website as well. Our website address is safeguardinvestment.com. Again, our website address is safeguardinvestment.com. We have a lot of good information on the website. And some of you that are just, tuning into the show, you may be saying, hey, Rick, I already have a plan. I already have an advisor. Listen, it's not about changing your advisor. It's more about becoming more informed. And it always makes sense to be more informed because you don't know what it is that you don't know. So if you'd like, you can also join us at our next seminar. There's no cost or obligation to attend any of our events. But if you care to, sit in on one of our seminars, we're going to talk about a variety of different topics, everything from, how to minimize taxes to maximizing your Social Security, maximizing your pensions, especially some of you that are working for Kaiser, or maybe you work for the gas company or you work for the electric company. You have pensions that, a lot of companies are doing away with. Unfortunately, you guys still have your pension. So, you have special circumstances that, you want to take into consideration. There's topics that we're going to discuss that cover all that stuff in our workshops or seminars, and many, many more topics. There's probably about 25, 30 different topics that we cover in the seminar, just to show you things, strategies you can do in order to enhance what you've already, been able to accomplish. If you care to take advantage of that, again, there's no cost, no obligation. Just an opportunity to actually meet us directly and get to know us. And if you care to take advantage of any of the workshops or seminars we have going on in the area, again, just call us 800-700-1980. You do have to RSVP for those because they do fill up quickly. You can also register on our website, and the dates and times of the workshops are on our website as well. So you can just go to the events tab and it'll show you the dates and times that we have them. And then you can register on the website, or you can just call us 800-700-1980. So before we took the break, I was basically discussing, dynamics and real life dynamics that we need to be concerned with when it comes to retirement planning, and situations that I've seen where, people kind of get stressed out over just general information that's out there that they read, that's on the internet or maybe some book or some radio show or what have you. And keep in mind, a lot of this information that you read is general information. But the point that I was making was that a good advisor will actually sit down with you, figure out what your goals, what your objectives are, and then design a plan around you. That way things aren't done, for lack of better terminology, willy-nilly. In other words, you're saving, and then when you get to the end game, and you realized, hey, wait a minute, I didn't save enough. I read this in a book and I did what they told me to do in this book, but I realized that, I didn't quite save enough and I got too much debt, or vice versa. You might find out that, because you were just doing what something told you as a general rule of thumb, maybe you were making sacrifices earlier on, you were making sacrifices and you were doing without, when in reality, you didn't necessarily have to make those as dramatic of sacrifices. You could have maybe had a little bit more balance in your life and enjoyed life a little bit more, and have a little less stress in your life. So it's really about having a game plan and having something designed around your specific situation. So the example that I gave in the beginning of the show, I can take that example and replicate it in a variety of different areas. So I just want you to understand the concept and the philosophy of what I'm talking about. Now, once again, if you're just tuning into the show, you are listening to the Big Picture Retirement Show. I'm your host, Rick Rivera. If you have any questions about any of the topics I'm talking about here today, feel free to give us a call toll free, 800-700-1980. So I want to share a dynamic that had occurred with a current client, and she came in to see me today, and she's like, Rick, you know what? She's been wanting to retire for quite some time. And she basically told me, she says, listen, Rick, we were doing some numbers, and she goes, I'm going to work one more year. And the reason why I'm going to work one more year is because if I collect Social Security now, it's going to give me $2,800 a month. But if I wait an additional year, I'll get $3,000. So I'll get another $200 a month if I wait an additional year. And this was her exact words to me. So I said to her, we were looking at her numbers and we're looking at her expenses and calculating, how much she was going to need in retirement to be comfortable and do all the things that she wants to do. So what we do as a planning firm is we always want to give you both sides of the equation. That way you can make an intelligent, informed decision as to what's going to work out best for you. So again, I'm setting the stage. She basically tells me, listen, I'm going to work a whole nother year. I'm 66, and that way I can get an extra $200 a month. So I said, okay, well, let's look at the alternative. What if because she planned on working a year anyway. So I said, what if you started collecting Social Security now? And that means at $2,800 a year, you're going to have to forego roughly $33,600 in order to get an extra $200 a month later on. Now, I'm not saying her original idea is the wrong choice for her. What I'm saying is she needs to know both sides of the equation so now she can make a choice. And when we crunched the numbers, it turned out in order for her to break even, in order to make that $33,600 back, it's going to take her roughly 14 years of making an additional $200 a month to make up that $33,000. And then she starts, that's in order to get beyond her break even point. And what I told her was, and I said, and as long as you're willing to do that, that's fine. But at least you understand, the dynamics of this. And I also said to her, I go, listen, let's say you decide you still want to work that one more year and you still collect Social Security anyway, and you get the $2,800. And now you have $33,000. And let's say you didn't use the money, you didn't spend it, because now she's full retirement age, so she can make as much money as she wants. And Uncle Sam is not going to take benefit away from her. They can, she has to pay taxes on her money, but they're not going to take benefit away from her because now she's full retirement age. If she was not full retirement age, this would be a different circumstance. But I said, let's say you decide to go ahead and work one more year because you made a commitment to the company and you decide to take Social Security anyway. And because you're working, you actually don't need the Social Security. Well, now let's say you bank that $2,800 a month. That means in a year from now, you're going to have $33,000, a little over $33,000 sitting in your savings account, earning interest. And then when you retire, you'll now, instead of putting away the $2,800 a month, the $2,800 a month is now going to offset the income that you need. So you won't be saving it, but guess what that $33,000 is going to be doing in your account? You can now have that investing, growing, earning interest. And that 14 years that it would have taken you to break even, that $33,000 would have been growing all that time. So now maybe that $33,000 at 14 years from now is worth $60,000 or $70,000. And now you need an extra $200 a month to offset inflation or whatever. Now you got a $70,000 or so sitting in an investment account that you can, pull money to offset inflation, or maybe to, take trips with, or just for emergencies, or what have you. So the point of this exercise was just to give her some food for thought, because most people see things, when it comes to this planning stuff, they see it one-dimensionally, and it's important that you see both sides of the equation and then decide what's best for you under your specific circumstances. For some people, based upon their situation, and I can go into a variety of different scenarios, it may be better for her to work another year, delay taking the Social Security, and get that extra $200 a month. But for some people, based upon their circumstances, you know what? What's good for one person may not be good for the other. It might be much better for them, especially when we got, some people may say, hey, Rick, with my health condition, I don't think I'm going to make it another 14 years, to be honest with you. So let me take advantage of that money now. What am I thinking? So there's all different circumstances and all different dynamics. And this is where a good advisor can kind of separate the noise that's out there from what's real to you. If you want somebody to sit down with you that can go over these dynamics with you and share with you, separate that noise, what's real and what's not, and what's specific to your situation, I tell you what I'm going to do. Give us a call right now, and I will have our firm, we'll do an analysis for you where you can sit down with us, and we will actually analyze your situation and maybe share some ideas that maybe you haven't heard of, or maybe give you some strategies that might work specifically in your situation that you just can't find out about just listening to general information on the radio or in some article or on a website. So if you care to learn about any of these strategies, just give us a call, 800-700-1980. You can also reach us on the web at safeguardinvestment.com. If you call me right now, I'm going to offer this to the first 10 callers that call the show right now, because unfortunately I can't do an unlimited amount of these things. But with that being said, unfortunately, it brings us to the close of the show right now. I want to thank all of you for listening. I hope this kind of helps you. And again, I'm just giving you a couple of examples that I can translate into a variety of different areas. But again, don't hesitate to give us a call, 800-700-1980. I look forward to talking to all of you next week again, right here on the Big Picture Retirement Show. Have a great weekend. Looking forward to talking to you soon.
Firm offers insurance services. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is a registered investment advisory firm. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims-paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This radio show is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual's situation. Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during this show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Safeguard Investment Advisory Group, LLC. This radio show is a paid placement.